We're back. Break time is over. And I've been encouraging
What did you sell in that commercial?
Hot air. I'm real good at that. I've been encouraging Uncle Nicky to say things that were a little bit more naughty.
Risque. Yeah.
Risque and forthright. Okay. And he was telling me an interesting story. First he's told me about a little bit about my dad and his girlfriend before my mother. Apparently my parents went out together for 2 or 3 years and they got married, and then he had a girlfriend before that. But even before
he
that,
had several girlfriends.
He had several girlfriends, and you were saying
they were all after him. But he was going with Nina in his later years at high school. No, he met your mother. Yeah.
And in the later years in high school, I think he met my mother. So
I think he was in junior high when he met Nina.
Uh-huh.
But the funniest part was what you were laughing about when he was about 15 years old.
And you said he was a good-looking guy?
Oh, very good-looking. Well, all the boys, both Chuck and Ross were good-looking, and so Marie. But my sister Minnie had a maid. I think she was either Balkan country or something. And Ross was on the sofa with her. They were naked, and Minnie walked in on him, and she had a holy fit. And she let her go. She threw her out. And when Ross was alone, she said, "How could you dare go out with a hired helper and sit there and Nick?" This is got. I have to excuse me. The phone's ringing.
All right.
Okay,
I will pause this.
I'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Hello. McMahon didn't live long, did she?
No, she
She had diabetes.
my grandmother McMahon lived to 82, but she had.
Did she? I didn't think
She had diabetes, and she also had congestive. She had a heart. They called it heart disease, but I think it was
And
congestive
Pop
heart
died
failure.
young.
Yeah, and he had heart problem too.
He
so
was
that's
a nice guy.
Yeah, real nice guy. And I remember him.
She wasn't
when I
as
was
friendly as he was.
She was very British. She was raised as a British woman, and so she had that reserve and that aloofness that the British have.
She had no. She's all English then.
Well, her upbringing was English because she was born in India, and then lived there till she was about 9 or 10, and then went to England, and was raised all of her whole childhood. She didn't come to the United States until she was around 20, and so she was British, very that kind of stiff upper lip. So even though her background was Irish and German primarily.
She was part.
Yeah,
Irish?
she was half Irish and part German, and there's some English in there too.
Oh.
She was a British subject, and so she was not that more, she was formal, and then that's where that came from. Yeah.
That's where she got that sort of aloofness.
Yeah, that very British. That's what it was. Okay.
That's what I don't like about them. I really don't. That's just something I can't.
They're very.
It's superficial to me.
They're very reserved, and.
We got two in this building. No one likes them.
Well, I think Americans like people who are enthusiastic and spontaneous, and the British tend to frown on that. And that's
and they
the way
just
we
don't
are.
fit in.
Yeah.
I noticed that with the Brian and McDaniels. They just stand out. That people just don't warm up to them.
Well, they think before they speak, and they're not, which is good. But when it's carried to an
sure,
extreme,
but it's
then you lose the vitality. I think so. I know what you mean. I want to take us back to. What you're talking about, my dad, and we're talking about the maid. That.
Well, we got through with that.
Yeah, we got through with that, and then we were going to talk about his girlfriend.
Oh well.
That was before my mother, and that was.
Yeah, we had several girls that were at school that were after him, but that didn't materialize much. It really got serious with the scroll. Well, we'll go in the scroll.
Nina.
Yeah.
Nina Scroll. Nina Scroll. Okay.
Well, she was going to school at the time, but she was interested in settling, get married. So I guess the pressure was on Ross, and he wasn't ready for that. So it sort of broke away. We used to go to a dance at St. Cecilia's about every Thursday night. A whole group of us, the Camellas, the Scrows, and Lombardys, and the Robertos, and a couple of other, Zingalis, married. I don't know. Did you know Jenny Zingali?
No, I didn't know.
You don't know any of that group?
Mm-mm.
You know both the Scrows.
I haven't. I think I've only seen her a few times. Nina.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a few times, but I don't know if I
They were
remember.
friendly afterwards. With after she got married to, Joe Junta.
Uh-huh.
They used to buy from the wholesale company when they started they started Stop and Shop. Juntas.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's the Juntas.
That's a Juntas.
All right.
And then they have a place on Fairmount, not yet. But he used to have a store on Cedar and Green.
Well, Juntas is big.
Yeah, but they all closed up.
Did they close?
Yeah. I think Nina's running the one on Fairmount,
Oh.
Fairmount Circle,
All right.
because her husband's dead now. Joe's dead.
Mhm.
But then he was going with Nina. That broke up. Then, of course, when his father got sick, he got married to your mother.
Mhm.
And that was it.
Yeah, and then they have 6 children. Here I am, see? Right here.
And
I'm
you
the
are
fourth.
doing very well.
Yeah, we're doing fine. So, the girls like my dad. I think it sounds like my dad liked the girls too.
Yeah, he was very much for the
A
gals.
ladies' man, kind of. And can you tell me a little
But he was a
bit?
very conservative kind of guy. He wasn't wild. He didn't run around like a chicken with his head off. No, he was very conservative.
He, I know Grandma liked men because I remember one time she had seen Anthony Quinn in a film, and she told me about it. And she goes, "Now that's what I call a real man."
Oh, she was man crazy. That's why she lost her husband too young. She missed her sex life. I told you before, Kathy, when Clark Gable was in that first couple of movies that he made. She said, "Oh boy, he could park his shoes under my bed anytime." And my brother-in-law Dave just looked at her
Uh-oh.
and smiled. He smiled.
He
He thought it was
smiled.
cute.
He thought that was funny.
Well, it was his wife that said it.
Yeah.
If anybody else said it, it would be terrible.
Be terrible. You said that.
That's why I say she got spoiled so much. Anything she said was all right.
She was okay.
Mhm.
You said that he was kind of like a kingpin for his family. He was kind of spoiled. Grandpa Dave was.
He was spoiled by his parents
By
too.
his parents, yeah.
Well, because being the oldest in the Italian family,
Oh, he was the oldest boy.
oldest one
Oh.
born.
I
Yeah.
thought Uncle Frank was the oldest one.
Oh no,
No.
it was Dave, Victoria, and then Frank,
All right.
then Jenny,
Then Jenny, and then
Sylvia, then Lucy.
Okay.
Then they had, I understand through the grapevine, that she had several miscarriages too.
Uh-huh.
Well, she would have had a bigger family. Who knows at that time what happened?
Yeah, it's hard to know. That's good. I'm trying to think of anything else. Can you remember anything about Aunt Marie? Just if you could describe her or what she looked like as a.
Well, Marie and I were at school together. We went around together.
So
As
you
I
were
told you,
buddies.
and yeah, well, as I told you that even at Roxborough, we were called in the office because they thought there was something very familiar going on with us. So they asked our parents to come up, and they found out that my mother was Marie's grandmother, and Marie's mother was my sister. They couldn't believe it, an uncle and a niece
Uh-huh.
being in the same age bracket, because no one ever heard of that
Right.
in that school.
That just it wasn't.
This is
what
the
they
old
were used to.
Italian custom.
So they didn't know you were just palling around
Well,
because you were family.
When they were small, when we were small, there was no television. It was just that new kind of a radio. So
Uh-huh.
people went to bed early. And that's how we were born.
That's how you got there. That's right. And anything about? I know Marie was very pretty. She was pretty in her later years too.
Yeah, she was a very attractive. She had a lot of friends, a lot of guys after her. But she met Lester when he moved out in Queenston, and that was it.
That's who she was interested in.
And she went all hell bent for election. Well, he worked for your grandfather. Lester worked for your grandfather as a trucker.
Oh.
And Marie was working in the office after she got out of high school. But I think Dave's idea was that she would meet one of the salesmen or something like that,
Oh.
and marry into a different kind of family.
Uh-huh.
Because Lester was not a much important name, or he didn't have a prestigious job or anything like that. And they were against the marriage very, very much.
Oh.
So she eloped on her before her 19th birthday. And then she had 2 children,
Uh-huh.
Lester and Carol.
Mhm.
But their marriage worked out fine. They celebrated the 50th, but they're both gone now.
Yeah.
She died of cancer, and he died. I think he had a form of cancer too.
He had I guess.
He had diabetes.
He had multiple things that I think were going
And
on.
heart.
And the heart thing.
Well,
diabetes.
and then he had amputation, did he?
Yeah. he had complications, I think, from the diabetes, and that didn't help either, so he just lost a lot of weight and that type of thing.
So, it's one of those things.
And Chuck? Remember Chuck?
Oh, sure, he ran around with my brother Victor a lot because they were the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck was a little bit wild.
Was he?
Your father was a very conservative person, and Chuck was completely different. Very outgoing. You never knew what the hell he was going to do next. And the funniest thing was on Fairmount, when he would come up Fairmount, you see my mother on the porch, he'd cut right across the intersection. There was that divider, you remember,
Oh, yeah.
the grass?
Yes,
He would just come right around the corner and see his grandmother and make her play cards with him. Even on the way home, would see his wife and kids. No, that happened a lot of time, Kathy.
Oh,
That's not exaggerating.
so he was more
was
impulsive
wild.
and fun-loving, yeah.
Like your grandmother said, I don't know whether I should stay on weekends with Ross to live a very quiet, conservative life, or be with Chuck and never know what's going to happen.
It's funny how so many different personalities in one family.
Completely different, that's right.
That is funny.
He was wild,
He was.
but a lot of fun. He didn't hurt anybody.
Oh, that is interesting how people can be so different. And I wanted to see what else. Let me see if there's anything that I.
Well, look, there's 13 of us, and I think we're all different.
And you're all different. I was going to say that personalities are all quite. They're alike and yet you're different. They're alike as family, you know, and the resemblance.
The resemblance
draws.
is there, yeah.
The resemblance is
But
draws.
as far as personalities, I think they're all different.
Yes, yes.
Like my brother Danny's a very conservative kind of a guy.
Uh-huh.
My brother Paul was kind of arrogant, you know. Thought he was somebody. Well, after all, he went to Notre Dame. He was
Yeah.
played football and the first boy born in the Italian family. Again.
Right. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was that Dave O'Shoe?
Let me see if there's anything else we were going to talk about. Anything that you can think of that was kind of fun, or something about yourself that later on, when I'm gone, you'll say, "Oh, I should have said that." Is there anything you can think
Well, that always comes back when you think about things later.
Sure.
I could have said this. I could have said that.
You know what I thought we could do? If you can sit there, could I bring over these family pictures and I can see if I can zoom in and we can get a close picture? See if they.
The
Yeah.
50th
Yeah.
or this one?
Well, actually, all of them. Could I just bring them
Sure.
and hold them and see if we can get a shot of that?
You want me to help you?
I'll tell you what. If you just stay there, I'll go and grab some. And I don't know how well this will work, but we can try it if you don't mind. Let me see if I can get a zoom in on this. This is a. You want to describe what you're holding?
Well, this is the original.
Let's see if we can get.
10 children. 17. Anna was,
Let's get a
I
close in
think,
on that.
14 months old.
See if we can get a little bit closer. I don't know how well this is going to take, but we can try it. Okay, let's see. Whoops, there we go. In fact, I'm going to try to get a little
Am
bit
I
closer.
holding it too high?
Well, I think it's looking pretty good, actually. I think I got to back up a little bit. Let's see.
Is the camera going?
Yeah, it's going. And let's see how this looks. I'll do better with my I do better with my glasses off. These are in the way, I think. There we go. And that is, my grandmother is on the top on the upper left. That's Grandma Minnie, and there's Grandpa Charlie, who's Gabriel. And there's Grandma Mary with the most recent baby. But guess who's not here? Uncle Nick isn't in here because he wasn't born yet.
That's
So we don't have him. But that's such a great picture. How old were Grandma and Grandpa in that picture, do you think?
Well, 1917, a mom would have been 37,
Uh-huh.
Grandma Mary, and Papa would have been 1974, 26, 42.
So they were relatively young. I'm going to turn this off.
Yeah, because they had 3 more kids after that.
They still had more. That's right. That's when you guys had to go out in the yard and get
Yeah.
lost. Uncle Nick, you're going to tell us a little bit. This is the all of the family grown.
At the 50th anniversary of my mother's 50th,
Your mother's 50th and
1946.
right, and that's Grandma Mary in the center and Grandpa Charlie.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Then your grandmother,
That's Grandma
the
Minnie.
oldest.
Uh-huh.
Then Margaret. Then Paul,
There's Paul.
right here.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking down. Then there's Charlie. Where the hell is Charlie? Oh, here.
Okay.
Then there's Lucy.
There's Aunt Lucy.
Then Rose.
Uh-huh.
Then Helen. And then Danny, who is a doctor. Then Anthony. Where's Anthony? Anthony.
Uh-huh.
Then Anna. Then me, Nick.
Handsome
Then-
devil there.
Then Victor and Gloria.
There's Gloria.
Right
And
there.
she had, I remember being very warm and having a lot she always made me feel very welcome.
Oh yeah,
Gloria did.
All Down syndromes. She was Down syndrome. And
Right.
they're very affectionate.
And she
You
was always
awfully
very,
close to them.
and she always remembered me and made me, she was just nice, to be around.
Wonderful. You want to see the ones with the in-laws?
Sure.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. See what two people.
Oh, wow.
See what two people could do. Of course, these are the same group before.
Uh-huh.
That's Rose. That's Paul's wife, Mary Corrigan.
Mm-hmm.
Christine Nero, Rosa Rigo,
Mm-hmm.
and Claire.
There's Claire. I talked to her
She
today.
was pregnant with a child, so she had to stand back there.
That's Danny's wife, Claire.
And that's it.
That's a great picture. And again, this was taken in the late 40s,
1946.
1946, right when I
February
was born.
2nd, the anniversary of my 50th, my mother and father's 50th wedding anniversary.
Wow. I was probably, I was 6 weeks old at that time. No, actually 5 weeks, because I was born December 29th, 1945.
45?
Yeah,
December?
yeah. So I'm.
Well, this was 3 months
Well,
after.
well, actually, that was February, so I was born almost
February
in
2nd.
January. Yeah. So that was just right after that. That's a wonderful picture. I love it.
It is. It's great.
Well, that's good.
Especially there's only 5 left of this group,
So there's 5 left out of the 13.
the family.
Uh-huh.
But there's only one brother-in-law left, and that's Gusty.
Oh, that's right. That's Aunt Anna's husband. Sure, I know.
All the in-laws are gone.
Mm-hmm.
And there's my brother Charlie's second wife is still alive, Lucille, and she's 92.
I'm going to back this up right now and put this. Let's
But
get
all these guys are dead. Clark, Frank, Sam, Joe Rini. Gusty's the only one that's left of the in-laws.
Interesting.
Okay?
All right, let's back this up and get you back in the shot. There we go. This is fun to play camera lady. Okay.
You do very well for the little bit of lesson you had.
I'd say this is called winging it. All right. Is there anything else, any funny stories that you can think of that you think we ought to put on tape?
I can't think of a thing.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come back in and we're going to close. And first I'm going to give you a big hug for doing this because this is a good sport. I'll tell you.
Oh, it's great that you have that interest in it.
Oh, I think I don't know. I'm kind of sentimental and I just think all of this is
Are you doing
important.
this for your son?
This is for me, and if Chris is interested, then I'm just curious, about what's going on and the connections and how everybody influences everybody.
Because now living away is another thing you do and see the families.
That's right.
Like you did if you were living here.
Right. There's so many things that it's nice. It's nice the way in America we can move all over the place, but the downside of it is that you're away, and so you miss a lot of things, and it's true. I don't know what to say about that.
Well, that's what
It is.
separates the family after when you move away. Half of my nephew and nieces I don't know hardly at all anymore.
Because they're moving.
Right.
They're traveling.
Now, Martha was here the other day and she was talking about her kids. Well, I've only met them once or twice. They live in Arizona.
Oh.
She lived in Mansfield after she got married, and then they moved to Arizona, and I have hardly seen them, only for their anniversaries when they came back home. And now those kids are graduating from college and they're on their own already.
Yeah.
So you hardly see them.
That's our culture. Just shifts all over the place. Keeps
Right.
moving around.
Right.
And it's as I said, there are a lot of good things about that, but the downside is it splits people apart,
It does.
and it doesn't make them available.
Well, like my brother Danny's kids, only 3 of them two of them came back after college. 5 of them are away.
Wow.
Denise is in Connecticut. Danny's in Boston. Ricky's up in Cape Ann. Lori's out in California, Beverly's in Milwaukee.
Mhm.
So there's 5 of them away. So how are you supposed to still your offspring? You don't know them anymore.
That's right, because you lose contact.
Yeah, because and then they're not interested in you after a while because they don't see you. They're just strangers. That's true. They say, "Well, my mother talks about you, my father talks about you,"
Uh-huh.
but it's not the same as when you see each other.
That's right. It's interesting too, because you've seen a big change from the time, here you were in this very cohesive unit, and so you followed it all along this century, and now you're seeing the other side at the end, toward the end of the
Well,
century.
imagine growing up with Marie and Ross, and even Joe LaPresti, he was our age, and that's my sister Margaret's son, and Josephine. We were always just like siblings,
Right.
and you were close together. But now they're all separated. Some of them don't even speak to each other anymore.
That's a family for you.
Yeah. Well, I heard that happen to I shouldn't even bring it up. Lester and Carol didn't even speak after Lester died.
Yeah, sometimes things like that happen. It's kind of sad.
It's too bad. Well, I guess he wasn't at the Kathy's wedding.
Hmm.
Or is it, what was the one that got married last? No, not Kathy. Is it Cindy? What's her oldest?
Lisa?
Lisa.
Mhm.
Were you here for the wedding?
No, I wasn't, but I got an invitation.
Uh-huh.
It's too bad. Sometimes things like that happen in families, and
Well,
sometimes things get resolved and sometimes they don't.
right.
Yeah.
So, I think you did a good job.
All right. Well, we're closing now. Thank you for watching. Thank you very
You're
much.
a wonderful anchor woman.
Oh, it's just fun to kind of play sometimes, isn't it? All right. Stop this here. I think I've got it. All right, we're off. Signing off.